All right, all right, all right. You're listening to the We're Talking Football podcast. I'm Weston. With me, as always, my right hand man, Lou. Lou, it's that time of the year where I don't get to hear your voice and see your face as often as I like. But good news is the season will be here before we know it, i.e., our volume will pick up before you know it.
Yeah, but this has been a pleasant break. I mean, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I was telling him, so how many times do you record during the season? And it was once a week. So if the amount of weeks we recorded in a row, it had to be around like 25 weeks in a row between the regular season, playoffs, draft, and all that stuff. So it was a nice little break. I feel recharged. I'm starting to get a little more excited for the season, especially as a Charger fan, a lot of things are exciting for. But yeah, no, I'm ready, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, towards the end of the season, we were going twice a week when we started latching on with Jason and doing fantasy stuff on Sundays, and it was between preseason leading in, and then you have playoffs and Super Bowl and post Super Bowl and preparing for that. I would say easily 25, 26 weeks in a row without missing a beat. So the break was needed, but I do long for these conversations, you and I being husbands, fathers,
Well, not husbands to each other.
yeah. Let's clarify that. I'm way too good looking for Lou. I'm out of his
I was
league
gonna say,
anyway.
Wes, no offense, you're not my type. You need a little longer hair there, buddy.
I mean, this is why I wear a hat, because I really have no hair on top. I just got a party on the side. That's about it. All right. So, Lou, let's remind our listeners that tonight's episode is brought to you by Primetime Sports Talk, your top source for all major sports content, including DFS, fantasy advice, great betting tips. Just be sure to head to primetimesportstalk.com to check out their in-depth analysis, exclusive content, fascinating interviews, and explore the rest of their amazing podcast family that we're fortunate enough to partner with. Again, that's primetimesportstalk.com, your go-to for sports content.
Yo, I messed around and got us a sponsor. How about that?
I mean, bro, I'm just going to let you keep messing around and see how that goes. Excited about that partnership. It gives us an opportunity to even collaborate with some folks that are just talking sports, whether it's football, other things. We're all knowledgeable sports fans, so great opportunity for us, Lou. Well done.
Yeah, I think it's
Definitely.
also pretty cool to also increase our fan base, different types of fans, listen out to us and stuff like that.
Yeah, or our fan hatred, but either way, I'm good
Yeah,
with it no matter what.
yeah, I am trying to increase my fan hatred. You're right there.
Dude, you've been stepping it up a lot in this
Thank
offseason.
you.
I'm
Yeah, I've
not
been
gonna
pissing off a
lie.
lot of people.
Yeah, I'm here for it, man.
I'm very, very bitter.
I've been really silent because you're entertaining me throughout. I don't even have to I don't even have to entertain myself, which is normally what I do. But now I'm just all right, Lou, take it away. Lou, that being said, we're smiling already to start off. I think that's a great segue into our show this evening to have a little bit fun, a little bit more fun heading into the season before we get a little bit more serious. So tonight we have some lighthearted content. So share with the listeners what we really plan on covering this evening and what fun is going to sound like today.
All right, I wanted us to sound different than everyone else out there right now. That's on NFL Network, ESPN, or the other podcasts. They're giving previews of the season and the teams, whatever. But there's really nothing to talk about right now. As long no one's getting the only thing you're really talking about right now,
Arm fatigue.
Is
arm fatigue.
Arm fatigue. You got all kinds of injuries, arrests, and stuff like that. It's been pretty quiet. So I don't feel like being a dead horse. I just think it's kind of cliche. I wanted to go a complete 180. So we're going to be tackling some hard-hitting issues and hard-hitting questions right now. We did a bunch of top 5 lists, and I don't want to give too much into away, but I think after the some of the first categories you're going to see that we're going to be tackling here, I think you'll realize where this is going to go.
This is serious stuff. If I know anything about sports fans, it's that all sports fans love lists. It just creates opportunity for debate. And we're going to list a few things out. Now, I cheated for our top 5 because I'm going to avoid being redundant. I have top 12 in every one of these categories just to make sure my top 5 could be unique from yours, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I have a bunch of honorable mentions.
All right. So to break the ice, right? The first top 5 category for this evening is the top 5 greatest sports movies of all time. And yes, the name of our podcast is We're Talking Football. But if we only went with the top 5 football movies, we'd have the exact same list, plus or minus 1, maybe 2. So we wanted to broaden our horizons a little bit. After that, we'll corral this thing back to the pigskin, if you will. But Lou, since I always get the pleasure of kind of kicking us off this evening, like I always rely on you in terms of kicking us off topic wise, clarification question for you. Are you going to give your number 1 or are you going to give your number 5?
You know what? That's an interesting question. I think I will save number 1 for the end. I think it'll be a backwards release here.
Okay.
That's what she said?
That's what she said. Here we go. All right. Your number 5 top sports movie of all time is, drum roll.
Ooh. All right, number 5. It's gonna be this was tough because I have there's like 17 movies I have here. But if I'm doing my number 5, I'm probably gonna say The Sandlot. Why not?
Wow.
Sandlot's it kind of when you watch it, just
killing me, Smalls.
Yeah, you're killing me, Smalls. It just transforms you into a better time. I feel like a simpler time when all you had to worry about was baseball. I kind of feel like it was like a young Dazed and Confused. Like they did absolutely nothing except for play baseball. Where Dazed and Confused was a movie about nothing, just friends hanging out, high school friends. This was like before that. And big fan of The Sandlot, and just like I said, it just brings you back to a simpler time where baseball was actually really fun too, and idolized as opposed to maybe being a third-rated sport nowadays. I grew up on baseball, big Yankee fan, but so baseball is always close to me. But that being said, I'm going to say number 5, Sandlot.
I love The Sandlot. The only thing that depresses me about The Sandlot, I mean, listen, Sandlot is such a quotable movie. Mm-hmm. But what hurts my heart a little bit is that when I watch The Sandlot, it's like I wish I was born in that 60s, 70s era, right? Like
it's so funny you say it. That's exactly how I feel about A, The Sandlot, and B, the other movie I just was describing, Dazed and Confused. I kind of wish you were in that era.
100%. Yeah, simpler time. Like you said, it was a simpler time. Like when I think of simpler time, Sandlot came out when we were kids, right? So that was the time in our life when things were simpler. Mm-hmm. But the reality is based on where you and I grew up, we all played sports and that's how we hung out with our friends and buddies, but we didn't play sports that way, right? Like a lot of our sports were organized. The only one that wasn't was basketball in people's driveways or out on the streets with portable hoops and things of that nature. But God, I'm thinking of more movies, even if we're having this conversation, I'm saying things my list is infinite at this point in time. Yeah, so many great sports movies. We'll give some honorable mentions, and we won't pull them apart. But Sandlot, Benny the Jet, Smalls, Porter. I mean, the list goes on.
Bergstrom. Our boy James Earl Jones in that movie.
Oh my God, what was his character name though? He was.
Been a hot minute.
This is tackling the beast. What he was they pegged him to be a former baseball player that played with Babe Ruth.
Played with Babe Ruth. Yep.
Yeah, but I think it was a made up name. I don't think it was a real player. But in any case, Sandlot. I mean, tremendous choice.
Wait, what a leadoff single right there, right?
Dude, I love it. Actually, you're setting the tone for me because I'm staying in the same sport, believe it or not.
Whoa.
So my number 5 is Major League 1. The first Major League. We're talking about I almost called him Willie Mays. Wesley Snipes. We're talking about Corbin Benson, Tom Berenger, Rene Russo, Charlie Sheen. The cast is unbelievable. Honestly, the series Major League and 1 and 2 are 2 of the most quotable sports movies of all time, in my opinion. Actually, funny story about Major League. I recorded it on DVR a week and a half ago. And I mean, listen, we've referenced the Major League series here and depicting your fan. Now that's 2. That's not 1. I think 1's the better of the bunch. 2's great as well. But I tried to get my wife to watch the movie with me. I won't call it a disaster. She just has so many questions, right? Like a lot of these movies, you just need to like understand the sport. You need to understand the concept. You need to understand the humor. And there was a lot of explanation that had to go into. But that's how highly I think of this movie that I was willing to sit through all of that so my wife understands where my humor comes from. But Major League, I mean, how is it? How are they not? How is that not a top 5 sports movie? It's phenomenal.
Well, you notice probably from the chagrin look on my face, there's a reason why I'm not looking too happy. But you just did something where I feel like I'm infamous for doing on our show and sniping you, and you just sniped me.
Good.
I won't. It's. I'll just be quiet. Okay. All right. So coming in at number 4 for me, and I thought outside the box here. All right. Dodgeball. Now, why not Dodgeball? That movie has some fantastic quotes. That was when what's his name that played Peter LaFleur? Vince Vaughn was probably in his prime right there. It could do no wrong in that era. That was his sweet spot in his career. You had you had some fantastic quotes from Jason Bateman, ESPN The Ocho. I mean, it has led
to bold strategy, Cotton.
you have stole the words right out of my mouth. Exactly. That is one of the most used gifts I've seen out there. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if this one plays off. But between Ben Stiller, Jason Bateman, Vince Vaughn, the absurdness of like covering dodgeball at the time with ESPN The Ocho was just a fantastic, unique idea. And it's funny now because ESPN covers shit like that. They cover darts now. They cover when you throw the bag into the, what do you call it? Cornhole now. There's cornhole championships on ESPN, bro. Are you fucking serious?
I know.
So they were ahead of the time, and it might be controversial, but like it's still a sport though because it had ESPN The Ocho. So I'm throwing it in there at number 4.
Hey, listen, I'm all for it. This is why people love lists. It's open for debate. Unpopular opinion coming your way. I actually can't stand Ben Stiller. Right. So,
wow.
Yeah. So like, listen, have I seen the movie? Of course I've seen the movie. Like I can quote it. I can do those things like duck. What is it? Duck, dip, dive, dodge, whatever, when he's throwing wrenches at him. But I applaud you for thinking outside the box, but I don't even have Dodgeball in my list of a plethora of movies here. So, but Lou, that's why you are the lowest paid podcaster, according to your own words and own announcements, because you are creative and you do always think outside the box.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, number 4 for me, and I'm actually changing my list as we're talking.
Yeah, I kind of was doing that too.
So number 4 for me is The Program.
Ooh, God. See, that was right there for me. That's an honorable mention. The Program, I'm not going to steal your thunder, but go ahead.
No, I mean, listen, what I love about, it's collegiate football based, right? Yes. But I think it brings in all the relevant topics at the time: steroid use, alcoholism. Like, it's a serious movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a comedy like some
athletes,
of these are.
Athletes, like understanding what they have to, do. Yes.
Expectations set on them. Like, I mean, you got a guy who's up for the Heisman and his own father won't like show up to games and comes from like that family and like just the mental anguish he goes through. Mm-hmm. You got another guy who goes from practice squad, takes some steroids and everything that comes along with that. You have another athlete that doesn't take their education seriously whatsoever, but is a savage of a football player destined to play in the NFL and then gets a career-ending injury. Yes. Like, these are all... and Alvin Mack, right? These are all real things that happen regularly at the collegiate level, most of which like we don't even hear about.
What I really loved about that movie is like, obviously I thought the football scenes were pretty cool. And I like the fact they were showing like them, like the shit talking that was going on and like some of the things they would do and say to psych out like, your opposing offenses and stuff like that. I just thought that was cool, like watching like that as a psychological warfare.
Listen, I don't want to give too much away.
I'm talking about Mac.
I don't want to give too much away, but like some of his lines are unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'm got the helmet on.
I'm not gonna say yes, but
because I want to talk about that. I'm actually gonna bring some of that, but when I reference it, but Program is is a great movie, and they made it in vain to make it feel like it was Florida State,
Mhm.
right? Like they did everything
Oh,
they
yeah.
could to make it feel like it was Florida State University that at that time was, constantly competing for national championships, the top of the
Mhm.
ACC. And to your point, the scenes, like the football scenes,
I thought they were
felt
really
like I
good.
was watching a football game,
Yeah.
essentially. So great movie.
Yeah. Wasn't James Caan the head coach?
Yeah, rest in peace.
Rest
James
in
Conn was the head
peace.
coach. Yeah, rest in peace, James Conn.
Yeah.
Godfather. Let's go.
All right.
All right. What do you got? Number 3. Dude, I have to
That's all right. You don't have to worry about.
We're giving 2 or 3 honorable mentions here.
Oh yeah, without doubt. So all right. So for number 3, you alluded to before. A movie of a major league, and yes, I'm going to agree. Major League does deserve to be here. I actually have Major League 2 here, and let me explain.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. I liked some of the characters better. I know Wesley Snipes is not in it, but I like some of the characters and the character developments better, especially with Wild
Baker.
Thing. Well,
Rube
Wild
Baker.
Thing, Rube Baker. Oh my God! See, yeah, stuff like that. I just also like Major League 2 better for the quotes. But
Yeah.
they had some great quotes.
Bob Uecker is epic, and I can't believe I didn't mention Bob Uecker when I was talking about Major League 1. But like in
just
2,
a bit outside.
2, he's epic. Dynamite drop in, Monty. That broadcasting school's really paying off for you.
Yeah, when he gets like wasted in the booth, and then like he asks Monty to cover. He's like, ball hit and caught.
And caught. I'm in the bag, and then he just passes out, and then Monty's got to take over.
Oh, what they're talking about.
Good news, Tri fans. the Indians are finally showing signs of, I don't know.
He's carrying a little low.
Bro, so good, man.
Yeah, so that's why I have Major League 2. Listen, Major League 1, it was the original idea, concept great, but Major League 2, I just thought it was a little better.
All right, my favorite of Major League 2 is when the character Parkman gets up the bat. Or no,
Parkman's doing his little shimmy.
Dude, it makes the women here in Cleveland puke in the beginning. It's like it makes them go crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, it's vice versa. It's when Wesley Snipes gets Omar Epps gets up to bat, and he goes, "Hey, Black Hammer," because that's his movie. I don't intend on sliding. He goes, "You don't, little man. What do you got, a death wish?"
But yeah, see, it's the quote. It's the quoting factor.
2 is way more quotable. 1 like just felt a little bit more baseball. You know what I mean? Like 2 was just so much more comedy.
Yeah.
And like less like love story and other things going on. But I mean, dude, they're both fantastic movies.
All right,
man.
What's coming in at for you?
Number 3. Necessary Roughness.
Yes. Wouldn't put it at 3, but I definitely that is a
Bro.
highly underrated movie. Go ahead.
It's one of dude, it's arguably
any movie with Sinbad
and top like 10, 15 movies of all time. I love this movie, and I love it because first time I ever watched it, I watched it with my father, right? And I was probably way too young to be watching this movie, but like the cast too. You mentioned Jason Bateman in Dodgeball. Jason Bateman's in this show. Sinbad's in this show. Scott Bakula. Yeah, Kathy Ireland as a kicker. You know what I mean? As a female kicker. Yeah. The coach, when he gives the speech at halftime, you know how you play football? You play football like Ed Gennaro played football. He was a 125-pound tailback, and he played like a goddamn raging beast. And he's just screaming. He's ripping his clothes off. Like, bro, that movie's so great. I mean, the characters, Featherstone, like just the twins.
Wow, you've got back-to-back one. Movie. Yes, highly underrated.
Love Necessary Roughness. I mean, dude, I literally watched CSI New Orleans as a series because Scott Bakula was the main character, and I was like, this is my guy, Paul Blake from Necessary Roughness. I gotta watch it. Another one that like decent football action, not a lot. I think it was better for like the behind the scenes things that were going on, but another collegiate football movie, you know, again, a real world scenario. You know, the school that at the time like lost all of their scholarships, right? Mm-hmm. Because they cheated the system and they were bypassing players, and this thing actually happens. Reggie Bush gets your Heisman ripped away from him, like programs lose scholarships. So like based on like things and that actually take place in like real context, but such a great movie, dude. And Sinbad is unbelievable in the movie.
Yeah, no, great movie. Like I said, I'm shocked. You had the wherewithal to put that because I don't think that would be in a lot of people's top five. Yeah,
No, but after listening to this show, it better.
yeah. All right,
All right, number two, bro.
Number two. Once again, look. Here's the box is over here. I'm over here. I'm thinking outside the box again. You ready? Number two, Rocky 4. Boxing's a sport.
That
And
sure is one of my favorite sports.
I'd be remiss if I didn't include a movie where an underdog Italian takes on life, and basically, you know what? Actually, I should have probably put Over the Top. But all kidding aside,
bro, Lincoln Hawk. You want to talk Lincoln Hawk and arm wrestling versus Bull Hurley? Let's go! I just watched that movie 2 weeks ago, dude. I
haven't watched that in a long time. But all kidding aside, Rocky 4. It just is it was so iconic for numerous reasons. It simulated the Cold War we were having with Russia at the time, America. So I just thought that was a interesting way to Hollywoodize, the Cold War, like the symbolism, Drago killing,
Apollo.
Apollo, and then him coming out for the revenge. I thought that was it just was really good.
On Christmas Day in Russia.
Yeah.
Dude, listen, anybody who played high school football that is even close to our age, that soundtrack is a soundtrack that was tend to be playing in your locker room. Like the soundtrack from Rocky 4 is iconic. When you think of Rocky theme songs, it's because of that movie, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, even bro, when that movie come out, 84, like we were, dude, I'm gonna Google it right now.
Yeah, Google that right now.
Because the first Rocky was like 77, dude, something like that.
So the first Rocky was the original concept, so you have to respect that. The third the second Rocky just was more of a play.
85, dude, 1985. Okay.
Yeah, no, but Rocky 4. I mean, I would get my Italian card revoked if I didn't put it up there. Bro, I probably even get to revoked right now for the mere fact I didn't have it at number 1.
No, I didn't. I had Rockies I had 1 through 4 like on my list, but they're like at the latter.
4 is the one that hits the closest.
I like 3 because you got Hulk Hogan and Mr.
Of course.
T.
Yeah, what's it? Thunder Lips.
Thunder Lips and what was Clubber Lang is
Clubber Lang.
But like such good movies, dude.
Yeah.
Rocky 5 was a piece of shit. Let's be very clear about that. And everyone after that's been. I've never watched any of the Creed, so I won't comment on it. But like anything Rocky there, I can't believe you referenced Over the Top, dude. I'm actually
impressed.
Insanely pissed off at myself right now that Over the Top is not even like just on my typed in list. Like doesn't even have to be brought up.
I was gonna say, I mean, you still have 2 more to go. I mean,
bro, Over the Top is such a great movie. It's got a pretty good cast too of people.
And you know what? It's a fantastic concept, a premise of a guy having to fight for his child's freedom by going into an arm wrestling match.
So funny story, dude. I haven't watched this movie in like 20 years, right? Another one I like watched with like my dad when I was
I haven't watched it forever.
And I saw it was on and I recorded it and I went back and I watched it. And then I'm like, wait a minute. This dude is cheating when he wins. Like he's re-gripping. You literally can't actually do that. And I know it's the premise of the movie of like getting over the top, but like you literally can't do that. Like it's literally against the rules.
No, Stallone can do whatever he wants, man. All right, what's your next one?
Man, dude. What am I on? Number 2?
You're number 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Still some good ones out there.
There's great ones out there. I'm torn between 2 right now. I know what my definitive one is, and I can't wait to have this conversation. But
it's probably going to be the same. But go ahead.
No, I don't think it will be. Right. Actually, I'm confident it won't be. So, I'm going to go with.
The anticipation.
Any given Sunday.
Great movie. Wouldn't have it at 2, but great friggin' movie. Loved a lot of the characters and cast in there.
I'll tell you if you give me the moment when we're done to like clarify.
Hey man, I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Any given Sunday, I'm going with like cast, right? Just like you have a ton of former NFL players there on top of
some
Jamie Foxx and
right?
Dennis Quaid, and I don't know if nobody would be current. Right? Well, I mean, he's trying to be in the NFL, but he's not on an actual NFL team right now, so you can't call him current.
No, I mean like at the time he was a current NFL.
Oh, dude, at the time he was a current. Then you have like Ricky Waters. You have a bunch of other people that probably were on NFL teams that like were probably like practice players. But then you have like
crazy
Bill
story.
Bellamy, Al Pacino. Like the cast is unbelievable, dude.
Yeah, Dick Butkus.
Butkus.
Keep on going. You can keep on going.
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown's
in it. I don't get strokes, motherfucker. I give them. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah, what's also pretty cool, here's a fun fact. You're really tying your list together. I don't know if you do this intentionally, but Lattimore from the program is in this movie too. I don't know if you knew that. He was the one with like this with the he had like I think he threw like the alligator in the friggin' shower. That's Lattimore.
Yeah. So fun fact for you as well. Alvin Mack from the program is actually Featherstone, the wide receiver from Necessary Roughness.
Wow, dude. And the program is Kevin Bacon, a football.
This is why I'm the second lowest paid podcaster.
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Do you know what I mean?
All right, my number one.
Yeah, numero uno, baby.
I feel like this is like a layup. This movie is not only my number one sports movie of all time, it's actually my top 10 movies of all time. Has to be Remember the Titans.
Wow.
Yeah. Great friggin' movie. Denzel was phenomenal in that. They had a boatload of famous people in that movie too. Loved the story of like basically the fighting of segregation and like coming as a team together, and then friends that people that were enemies are now friends, and people that were friends became enemies and stuff like that. I just thought it was fantastic. Just a feel good story. Unfortunately, at the end, what happens at the end. But I think Remember the Titans. That's a slam dunk. That has to be your top one, bro.
It's not.
Wow. Then this list is
so before we started this conversation, no lie, if I'm looking at my list the way that I typed through, Remember the Titans was originally number 5.
Wow.
But I've given some room here because I knew there'd be some things that changed based on like some things that like you have said. So some things shift around for me. Listen, Remember the Titans is a fantastic movie with a phenomenal cast, highly quotable, emotional. Like it's a great movie. Like it's a great movie. And this
true story.
Yeah. This list became really, really hard when we said we were going to do all sports.
Yeah.
If we did just football,
we'd
have the same top 6, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. The program was definitely up there for me.
And it probably wouldn't be my number. You know what? Like based on the other list that I went through with like program, Any Given Sunday, it Necessary Roughness, right? Like it'd probably be number 2, right? Like when all said and done. It is a great movie, man. And I love Denzel. Denzel is my favorite actor of all time. It's not even close. I love every piece of work he puts out is phenomenal. I would argue that like probably my favorite movie of all time is Man on Fire.
Mm-hmm.
But my number 1 is in close competition for my favorite movie all time. And I'm not even embarrassed to admit this. Like I accept all ridicule, all smoke that comes my way.
Here comes Air Bud.
Air Bud. Great movie. Number 1 for me is A League of Their Own.
Oh my God. I totally. Wow.
A League of Their Own.
Wow.
Bro, fantastic. We talk about casts in movies.
Oh, that's
Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell, Gina Davis, I mean, like the list just goes on and on. I mean, John Lovitz is in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like it dude, it is such a great movie. I
That's a
remember.
movie that like you can enjoy. That's a movie my wife can enjoy. That's
Yep.
like that is a movie that everyone in the world can enjoy.
You don't have to be a sports fan to enjoy
No,
that movie, not even a
no.
little bit, because you know somebody on that screen. You can get behind it. You know, like, hey, listen, this is World War II. The men are away, right? Like sports go on. How do these owners continue to make money? All the struggle, like it, dude, like, and Tom Hanks is phenomenal in that movie.
Yeah.
Phenomenal in that movie. This is legitimately, I'm not even exaggerating. This is one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time across any categories. So much so that I was literally traveling for work, and this is going back 9 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. I was in LA and I was traveling with a bunch of people that I work with for a conference. And we were talking at the bar one night, and somehow like we got into a conversation of like favorite movies, blah, blah, blah. And I mentioned A League of Their Own. And I was like, this movie draws out every emotion. It makes me smile. It makes me laugh. It makes me cry. It makes me do everything. And I'm explaining this to them. My chief operating officer at the time flew back early from this conference. We all landed on like Friday. He flew out like Thursday night on a red eye and ended up going to the office on Friday for a little bit. And I come in Monday morning, and my desk/office is covered in printouts of pictures from the movie A League of Their Own, covering every square centimeter. That my chair, my monitors, my desk, like everything of printouts. And they thought they were like getting me. And I was like, I'm not even offended. I'm not even going to take any of this down. I'm just going to clear room for my seat and clear room so I can see my monitor. And this is how I would decorate my office if I was allowed to decorate it, right? Like that
Yeah.
sort of thing. Like, dude, League of Their Own, #1 for me. And I
Wow.
love that movie.
I hate
Love that
myself for
movie.
forgetting about that, but there it is. Those are our top 5 sports movies.
Give me like, let's not dive into them, but give me like 2 honorable mentions.
Rudy.
Yeah.
Rudy's up there. A little long, but I thought it was pretty damn good.
True stories are hard to dispute. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And didn't mind the Replacements either. That's another good movie, like quotable, fun, interesting concept. Yeah, so I'm gonna say big Keanu Reeves fan. So that was a good movie too.
Do you have another one? Do you have one more? Because I think I'm gonna like rattle 3, so I want to be fair to you.
Okay. You know what? Varsity Blues.
Yeah.
I think that's more of like a reminiscent one but that came out when we were like around that age,
Yeah.
or maybe a little older. So it's like we can kind of relate from like, from a adolescent standpoint, and like, doing school like that. That was our life at that time. So I think that's why it's probably more of like a reminiscent pick as opposed to a really good movie.
Yeah. So Varsity Blues was gonna be one of my honorable mentions. I'll fill the gap on that. I had Rudy as well. Another one for me is Basketball Diaries.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Basketball Diaries?
I have not.
What?
I know.
Dude, Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Wahlberg, like another like stellar cast. Definitely check that movie out. Drugs, phenomenal basketball players, and what
It's like everything in the world I love.
Yeah, exactly. Basketball Diaries, and I'll say Field of Dreams.
That's a good one.
And then my third from that list would be, I had the Replacements on my list. I had the Longest Yard, but I would say Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
I'm not as big as fan like as a lot of people are of Friday Night Lights. Like, I mean, it's got good football scenes, and Booby Miles is a fantastic character.
Mhm.
Y'all want to win? Put Booby in. Like, I give him the spins, coach. Like, I mean, he's great, but I don't know. It just like I gravitated more towards Varsity Blues than I did Friday Night Lights at that time.
Yep.
And listen, you and I played under Friday Night Lights, and that was the highlight of what we did, right? Those Friday night games. So there you have it. Those are our top 5 sports movies. So let's parlay that topic into our top 5 movie characters.
Yes.
out of these movies.
All right. Do you want to start first?
Do you want me to start with one or
No,
go back?
no. You always finish at one.
All right, so I'll start with 5. I'm gonna give the character name, right? Like I don't even know
Oh
this
yeah.
person's name in real life. And I'll give you the movie that they're from. So Clifford Franklin,
Oh, replacements, right?
wide receiver from the Replacements. Yeah. He's like Clifford Franklin. Don't even know what he's gonna do next.
Yeah.
When he say things, or Coach, I look like I jacked off an elephant.
Yeah, no, yeah. He was a good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Great. So those are some of the like that jacked off an elephant. Like I honestly tried to use that once a month, like in some capacity, like that quote, like something needs to look that way so I can say that. Clifford Franklin, is my top number 5 top movie characters.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start off once again outside the box here. That's gonna be my theme. Ricky Bobby. NASCAR is a sport.
Shake and bake, baby.
Can I do like Ricky Bobby and Kyle Naughton Jr. too, or no? What if I could combine those two? Love the fact they played off each other great. It was hilarious. I also love the fact that he starts off as great, completely falls off, and then finishes off great again. He's so good, but he's also a pretty big idiot too. So I love the fact that he's oblivious to a lot of things. Ricky Bobby is my number 5.
It's a great number 5.
Right.
Number 4 for me, Charlie Tweeter.
Ooh,
wide receiver from Varsity Blues.
I'm gonna have to pivot. That's a good one, man.
Bro, he's so great, dude. And you hit the nail right on the head, bro. Like this movie came out when we were at that age, right? Mm-hmm. So we, I've never looked up to what James Vanderbeek, right? But like I played wide receiver in high school.
Really?
Played
I feel
defensive
like you were a Vanderbeek type of guy, no?
I mean, I watched Dawson's Creek growing up, and if you didn't, you're lying. That being said,
I
Charlie
did not
Tweeter,
actually.
He was you're lying, is the crazy wide receiver, super rambunctious, like just out of control. Like when you like look at your friends like, yo, what character am I? Like you wanted to say I'm most like this individual, right? Because he was just that.
You're right. I think a lot of people
adolescence.
Yeah, growing up during that time, a lot of people either compared me to Tweeter or Billy Bob. It was close. It was close. So some people say I was the Billy Bob of the tweeters there, but yeah. So that's a great one. He
was in your top 5.
He was my next one, so I'm gonna have to pivot. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to pivot, and I'm gonna go with White Goodman. Now, if you don't know who White Goodman is, he's not gonna be your favorite, Weston, but he is Ben Stiller in Dodgeball. The guy has great hair. Love the fact that he hates fat people. He's detested by fat people, and because he used to be a former fatty. Some of the things he does, like the people he partner up with his concierge Michelle. I just think he's so ridiculous and over the top. Big fan of White Goodman.
Like I said, I've seen the movie, man, and like I know there are some comical parts, but I digress because you know how I feel about Ben Stiller, or at least you now know because I mentioned it earlier. Number 3 for me, Lou Brown, the head coach from Major League.
Wow.
Yeah, he's just so funny. I think one of my favorite moments in Major League One is when Roger Dorn comes up to him and says, "Look here, Lou. It says right in my contract, I don't have to do any calisthenics that I don't feel are necessary. So what do you think about that?" And he throws the contract on the ground and just starts pissing on it.
Yeah. That's funny. I also like the fact that when he's talking about like everyone's making there's always something going on. It's a religion thing or a heart attack.
Or a heart attack. Who used
that one?
Dude, he's when they call him up, "Hey Lou, you want to be general manager or you want to be head coach of the of the Cleveland, and he's like, I don't know. I got a guy on the other line talking about some white walls. Can I call you back? Like, he just doesn't even care, bro.
I know.
You may run like Mays, but you hit like shit. What he says.
That's funny. Yeah, no, that is a great one.
Lou Brown.
Any Lou's good.
Yeah.
All right. Good. So for me, was this my number 3?
Your number, yeah, you let me start. So that's your number 3.
I'm gonna have former Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Rod Tidwell join the party here.
I can't believe, dude, I didn't have Jerry Maguire on my list.
Jerry Maguire's on my list. I didn't want to give it away because I didn't want you to think of Rod Tidwell for best. But all kidding aside, dynamic, just flashy, but he's also hardworking. He's going through a transition. It's just that put Cuba Gooding Jr. On the map. I feel like that movie, and he was dynamic in that. Gave a lot of energy, a lot of passion. Really complex character if you really think about it. But yes, definitely. Rod Tidwell.
You are my ambassador, Quan. Such a good. Who's my motherfucker? I'm your motherfucker. Congratulations, you're still my agent.
That's funny.
Bro, wow. Hey, you know what, dude?
Good one, right?
Rod Tidwell gets an applause from me, man. That is. I'm gonna have to make you the second lowest paid, and I'll take the lowest paid position.
I just got a raise.
Yes, you did. To this. All right, number 2 for me is actually, you made reference to this earlier, but it's the same person, but it's 2 characters from 2 separate movies. So it is Featherstone and Alvin Mack, who's played by Dwayne Davis. I mean, Featherstone is don't throw it to stone hands, right? Like, I mean, like, dude, how used is that? And then we talked about Alvin Mack.
Alvin Mack was a great
character. The way he'd be like, you're the one who raped my sister, and you're the one who killed my brother. Nah, man, I never knew your brother.
Yes, you are. He's going,
you're crazy. Or when he's like, see that shoe? It says Adidas. Like, just great, like just great in both movies. Little fun fact for you about Dwayne Davis: he's actually the son of Hall of Fame NFL player, defensive end Willie Davis, that was a member of the Green Bay Packers when they won Super Bowl I and Super Bowl II. So not shocking that when your father is a Hall of Fame football player that you at least find a way to achieve being in NFL movies. He was actually a collegiate football player and suffered a career-ending knee injury. So when he was filming the Alvin Mack role, and they wanted him to, when the Alvin Mack had the knee injury, he didn't do that. Like, they had somebody else literally come in and wear the uniform for that play, like almost as a stunt double, even though it didn't require it, because he was literally having like PTSD, because that's exactly what happened to him.
Wow. Good. Wow. See?
Crazy, right?
And just like that, you became the highest paid person on WTF pod.
All right, dude. Who's number 2?
Number 2, you helped jog my memory before. I'm going to go Jimmy Dugan from A League of Their Own. A League of Their Own. I don't think we really need to get too much into this. Guys are pissed drunk, coming out of retirement to coach a bunch of ball players. I don't got ball players, but it's just the fact that like he treated them as real, like, at first he was, I'm going to say apprehend. Yeah. He was apprehend. He was not too enthused to be coaching girls. He just was doing it for the money to get drunk too. But then like, you just like the fact that he started really like sticking up for them. They started bonding, and like, that was a great scene to see that transition. So yes, Jimmy Dugan.
I quit. That's literally my number 1.
Yeah, I thought so. That's why I'm like, I gotta get this out there.
And not only is that like my number 1, I had like an intro for him to go with avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan. That's how that's good advice. That's how he starts to anybody ever tell you look like a penis with a hat on? I didn't no, you misunderstood me. Quotes are classic. Jimmy Dugan. I'm gonna pivot and I'm gonna throw somebody out there. But it's hard for me. It'd be a lot easier to do that at like 4 or 5 than to like. So Jimmy Dugan was my number 1. Like, He's my favorite
So, hold on, do you want
character.
me to go now then? And basically, because that's your number one, or what do you want to do?
Give your number one, and then I'll come back to my number one.
All right.
Now, I'll come back to my replacement number one.
Okay. So, basically, I hope I didn't piss off the Italians too much in my last list by only having Rocky at 3, but I will make it up to them and saying Rocky is my number one sports movie character of all time. A great underdog story. You can tell there's probably a theme that I do like when Joy. It's the underdogs taking over. Defying all odds and showing it's not the size of the man or fighting the man or something like that. But yeah, Rocky is my favorite sports movie character of all time. Taught me how to fight and watch TV, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's exactly how I have to fight.
Yeah. Wow. All right. I'm going way outside the box right now.
Let's do it.
Again, Jimmy Dugan
is your number one.
So this is your number the collab, 2. Jimmy Dugan number one. No, this is my replacement number one.
Okay.
Cheryl Yost.
Refresh my memory.
The coach's daughter from Remember the Titans, the little girl.
Oh, okay.
I had to Google what her name was real quick.
Okay.
Just I can never forget, like, just how into the game she is, or when the one kid gets replaced because he can't cover nobody, and they put Petey Jones, the running back, Petey Jones in on defense, and she turns around and is like, he's getting beat like he stole something. She says it to the father of the.
It's just funny that you would see like her so enthused about the game of football.
Yeah. And if I had a daughter, like, that would be my expectation of my daughter.
Know what?
Right?
I feel like stories about my daughter Grayson. Mm-hmm. I feel like she could be on the.
She's going to be something like. Oh my God, dude! We didn't reference I almost called her the Icebox, and we didn't reference Little Giants.
Wow. But we're referencing now.
O'Shea.
We're referencing now. So, honorable mention.
Oh my God! This is why. And that's football. Like, we don't even have an excuse, right? Like, it's like that could have been part of the football. But, dude, this was honestly for me, this was a lot of fun, like, putting together this list a little bit, because I was smiling, like, thinking about being creative, was opening myself to ridicule with, like, A League of Their Own, potentially, like, as number one with my favorite character.
That's up there.
I enjoyed it, man. I really enjoyed these lists. Yeah. I really enjoyed these lists.
I think we're getting out of Hollywood now.
Yeah, we are getting out of Hollywood and getting into the real world. Okay. But we're looking at the real world from a different camera lens. So as we get in, Lou had a great idea, and I love this because this is just up for interpretation, right? The top 5 scariest players of all time. NFL players of all time, the scariest. Lou, this was your topic. It's your subject matter. Who's number 5?
All right. For me, number 5 probably would be. There's so many. I got a good list here. I'm just
a fantastic list, by the way.
Okay, so all right. So number 5, I'm going to start off with James Harrison. He is a scary, a scary human being. The guy was just violent, just the way he looks. And if you follow him on Instagram, this guy is still benching like almost 400 pounds, and with the chains attached to it and everything. This guy is a beast. He just looks like, he gives you this look like, I have nothing to lose in life. I'm going to kill you type stuff. And he played like that. He's integral part of those Steelers defenses. Could do anything from stopping the run, sacking the quarterback, and even creating havoc in the passing game and having interceptions. Let's not forget about that fantastic play he had against the Cardinals in the Super Bowl. He ran it back, like 99 yards for a touchdown, but before the end of the first half. James Harrison, though, just has that look on his face that, like, it's very intimidating. So I'm going to say James Harrison, number 5.
And it's like slight lazy eye that, like,
it's like he doesn't look like he's all there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's I say it just like it just like adds to the crazy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it just like fits the personality. Psycho man, absolute maniac. And a great story too, right? Like, I mean, if I remember correctly, like undrafted, and
Undrafted.
then like Super Bowl. No, he didn't win the MVP. San Antonio Holmes did, but like, didn't he return the
That's
99
what I was
yard
talking about.
interception
Yeah.
for touchdown, like whatever. A lot of my guys are actually some old school players.
I do have a lot of old
So
school
like,
too.
like throughout, I have 14 names on my list.
Okay,
I would
I don't have that
say
many.
I don't even know if this person still plays, but I'm just going to say none of them still play. This one
Yeah.
might.
I don't think I
Um,
have it. I have one that still plays.
all right. So my number 5 is going to be Dick Night Train Lane.
Ooh, that's a great one because he doesn't look scary, but damn, he played scary, man. He would decapitate guys.
He's literally the reason that there's a face mask penalty in the NFL, because he would grab you by the face mask and throw you to the ground. Now, this is a different era, right? Like different rules. Like nobody protected the quarterback here. I mean, shit, the quarterback was basically a sacrificial lamb in the NFL when Night Train Lane was playing. But like Night Train is a symbol of this man went hard, steamrolled you, took no prisoners. Again, he played before you and I were even watching football, man. Like it
Yeah,
was
but
a
if you
different
watch,
thing.
yeah, but I
But
remember
if
always growing up on football on Super Bowl Sunday, they would play on like on one of the stations, all the like on the Super Bowl games and stuff. You would always see like footage of him, man. Yeah.
So where I remember being introduced to Night Train Lane is my grandfather was a big NFL films fan. So like Steve Sable, like
Yes,
those
as was
guys
I.
who had
Yes.
that had a lot of the videos, VHS videos, man. So when like me and my cousins would sleep over my grandparents' house, it like as an excuse to just like all get together and do whatever, we'd pop in those videos, and a lot of them were like throwback highlights of people like Dick Lane, right? And it was just like, oh my God, like the NFL that we were even watching as kids was cleaned up, even though it was still a filthy league, was cleaned up
Yeah.
ridiculously from when these guys
Oh
played. And
yeah.
I'd be like, oh my, I can't play football. Like this guy would kill people. Like Dick Night Train Lane, my number 5, without question.
Wow. Wow. So I am going to probably shock you with this one because he doesn't. I wouldn't say he looks terrifying, but what he can do is terrifying. Let's say Larry Allen, offensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. The
Hey, he
Dallas.
played offensive tackle for the San Francisco 49ers too. I know who Larry Allen is.
No, I know, but it just would be interesting to put him on this list. Dallas Cowboys, their offensive line in the '90s were a thing to like witness. It was just beautiful. Emmitt Smith probably wouldn't have got touched. I wish they had analytics back then, but like he probably didn't get touched until like 6 yards down the field. Like,
Dude.
so they were very responsible for his success.
Larry Aaron, Eric Williams, Nate Newton, like Stefan Wisniewski, like that offensive line was loaded.
Mark Tuinei, yeah, all of them.
Yep.
So why I'm saying Larry Allen, there's two things. I hope listeners, go back and just Google Larry Allen bench pressing, and there's 2 videos out there on YouTube. The first video is Larry Allen easily putting up 225 43 times, like it was like his warm up. The second one is a video of him benching 705 pounds. And here's the crazy thing. He didn't just do 705 pounds. He started off at 650, 675, 705. It wasn't his first rep. You see what I'm saying? He already put up 650 and 675. And that to see someone and with the bar, and you know what? It didn't look hard at all. And he had a closed grip, which makes it even harder when you're benching. And last but not least, you got to go look at. So we're talking about from a strength standpoint, but then go look at what he does, and then YouTube this. There's a video of him chasing down a Saints linebacker on an interception, and he catches him from behind. He runs so fast. You would not think a guy who's 6'3", 325 pounds, of like a country-looking type of guy, that'd be able to do this. He'd be scary. I feel like you get him, he would tear you apart. He just can easily rip you in half. Massive human being.
He was an elite football player and one of those guys that really put left tackle on the map in terms of significance and importance.
Well, he was more of a right tackle with the Cowboys.
He played left tackle in SF for a little bit.
But you know who always got him? You know who always bitched him around? Reggie White.
I mean, Reggie White's a Hall of Famer, dude. He
I
bitched
know,
a lot
but
of people around.
Allen was very good, and he would beat him with that club hand.
So
knock him over.
Speaking of Reggie White, last night they replayed the Packers Patriots Super Bowl, the one that Desmond Howard won the MVP in. And I was watching Reggie White, and I was like, my God.
Very good.
He was just so good. Yeah. You know who was actually pretty crazy? Do you remember Gilbert Brown?
Oh, big number 93.
Dude, they showed multiple plays where this man dropped in coverage and ran down running backs.
He was a very
at like 360 pounds, nose tackle. Like,
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I forgot how good that Packer team was. All right. What did I start us?
Yes.
So I'm on number 4.
Yes. No.
Yeah, because I only gave one.
Yeah, you gave one.
Did,
so
you start us. You just did 4. I'm doing 4 right now. Okay. Wow. I'm pivoting. I'm going Ronnie Lott, number 4.
Yes, has to be up there. For a guy, I mean, I'm not going to steal your thunder. You know, this is your floor. This is your team.
This is not a homer pick either.
No, not at all.
He played a violent brand of football as a defensive back. A very violent brand of football. And this is a guy.
You got to state the obvious.
Yeah.
Why is he?
Half his pinky amputated in the middle of the game and came out and finished the game, right? Like, I mean, that story is extremely exaggerated, just for the record. But it is a story that will go down in infamy and always attach itself to Ronnie Lott, like the epitome of a winner, the epitome of a football player, and how gritty and grimy this sport is. But this is a converted corner that went to safety, dude, and just laid the wood. When I think of Ronnie Lott, I think of those massive shoulder pads and how he'd come down and lay the wood. Dude, I know I'm a 49ers fan, but this
is not a homer pick.
This is not a homer pick at all.
This is common sense.
But there's a play that I will always remember. I don't even know if you can go find it. But I used to have this game recorded on VHS, and I used to have a lot of Monday night football games that the 49ers played in. I would have recorded on VHS from when I was a kid. During Hurricane Sandy, all of my VHS tapes were under my parents' house, which was on the water and got lost. Right? Like everything that we had got destroyed in the hurricane. So I lost all of these, but I don't even know who has VHS player anyway to prove it anymore. But nonetheless, there was a Monday night football game. It's actually the football game that LT got severely injured in against the 49ers. O.J. Anderson was the running back. So this was 89. This is the year that the 49ers went in to beat the Broncos 55-10 in the Super Bowl. And the next year, the Giants had our number in the NFC Championship game. Nonetheless, this is during the regular season. Ronnie Lott comes down. And O.J., we all remember O.J. Anderson. This is not a Barry Sanders size running back. O.J. Anderson was like a Jerome Bettis type running back, right? Like a moose. Ronnie Lott came down on the line of scrimmage and met this man and hit him so hard, he literally flipped. Bro, he literally flipped. He hit him dead in his shoulder pads and his legs went up over his head. That's how hard the momentum was. And dude, I'm 7 years old when that happened. And I still remember that as like, it's like permanently embedded in my brain. Ronnie Lott was a violent football player and a very physical player and a very intimidating individual.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Number 3.
Number 3. All right, so number 3, I'm torn here. All right, I'm going to go old school. And if you look at like what a football player back in the 70s should look like, it was this guy. It was Jack Lambert. Guy had no.
Yes.
Guy had no teeth whatsoever. You know, he just looked like he got off work. Work at the steel mill. Came to work, was mad. He's just angry, and he took his frustration out on opposing offenses. And he was part of that steel curtain defense. But it's cool if you go watch him. I feel like he played like a wrestler. Like he'd be pile driving people and like sidewalk slamming them or like it just was. He just played angry. He just played like he was really like a pissed off guy, and he gives off that look of like, wow, this guy has been through hell and back, and he's and I just think it's an iconic. There's an iconic picture of him, Jack Lambert, man, number 3.
It's like what you think of when you think of like the Steelers and like his time in that era. That's a great number 3. I have him on my list too. Number 3 for me, I'm gonna parlay into another Jack, and it's Jack Tatum. Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of people probably don't remember Jack Tatum, but he was a defensive back for the Oakland Raiders. You know me, I'm infatuated with defensive backs. Dude's nickname was the Assassin. Mm-hmm. Like, how are you not on anybody's list if your nickname is the Assassin? So again, another one that I was introduced to just through like one of those NFL films things, like through my grandfather, because I specifically remember one of the videos that he had was about like the heaviest hits in NFL history. And Jack Tatum was in multiple of these collisions that I'll never.
Especially against the Steelers, man. Those games were crazy back in the day.
Oh, my God. The Raiders Steelers games, yeah. AFC
Dude,
games.
like Lynn Swann, like I think I saw a one with Jack Tatum that like I think it was Haynes, maybe held up Swan, and then like I feel like Tatum came out of nowhere and did like a Dudley Brothers spine buster on him or something. It just was crazy.
So it's funny because when we were preparing for this, and like Jack Tatum's name is in like the back of my mind. It's been a long time since I've seen those films, right? So it's like, let me make sure I'm not like crazy, and it's hard to find like tape and film on it. But was reading about him for a moment as I was reading, and I didn't even know that. This is crazy, dude. In his first NFL game ever, he knocked 2 guys out of the game. In his first NFL game ever.
Wow.
He actually paralyzed an individual because he hit them so hard. Like, I don't know. Like, what are you supposed to say to that? Like, I mean, like, as a safety, dude whose safeties have the ability to be running full speed when they make contact with somebody. And in the 70s, you think anybody worried about where your head position was on a fucking tackle? They were aiming for right in, yeah, they were putting the crown of their helmet in your fucking ear hole.
Yeah.
Like, that's where they were putting it. Tatum was a beast, bro. And again, like, when you have nicknames like the Assassin, you're a violent football player.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Number two for me. This is easy. For me, it's Lawrence Taylor. It has to be LT. The guy changed the game. He's single-handedly the reason why Joe Theismann went into broadcasting. He's also the single reason, every reason why every left tackle should think they're the god for LT, because he basically made the left tackle position extremely imperative after that Joe Theismann hit. He played like a madman, head on fire. It's funny because that was like a Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick, New York Giants defense, supposed to be very regimented and what have you. They just told LT, do whatever you want. Everyone else, 10 guys on the field, right, had assignments. LT, they just say, go ahead and do what you want. And he played like a madman. And he played like a madman when he wasn't on cocaine. Yeah. And then he was playing, coked out too. So,
pawning his Super Bowl rings for blow. Like, dude's an animal.
But you know what? We also should have named him as one of the top movie characters, Shark in Any Given Sunday.
Or another one that I'm disappointed that none of us referenced was the Water Boy. Yeah. The Water Boy, yeah.
Or Happy Gilmore too. But okay, aside, Lawrence Taylor, definitely number 2, because he played like a madman.
Yeah. I'll pivot. Lawrence was my number 1, so I'll pivot when I come number 1. You said everything that you needed to say. So I'll say my number 2. I got 2 guys that I want to throw in there. I'll say lights out Sean Merriman.
Yes. That's very good. Yeah, he played, dude, when he was with the Chargers, man.
Bro, his nickname's Lights Out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes the nickname tells you everything that you need to know.
How do you think he got that nickname?
Yeah, it wasn't by accident.
Yeah.
He put lights out on people. Violent player, a very skilled player, actually, was not one dimensional by any means, but when he got to you, he got to you with bad intentions. Hell
I
of a
loved.
football player. I thought his career was cut short. I thought he
Yeah.
should have played a little bit longer. I know you're biased towards loving him because you're a Chargers fan. I'm not, I mean, I'm like a quasi Chargers fan. I feel like I root for them harder than you do sometimes. But lights out, Sean Merriman. He was different, man.
Yeah.
He was just different in an era where, like, I don't want to say when he was playing football got soft, but it was softer
It was
than
finesse.
what we're
It was your
describing.
Robert Mathis. It was
Yeah,
like your Dwight Freeney, DeMarcus Ware. The finesse. It was
yeah.
speed.
He
And
reintroduced a physical brand of football.
he was speed to power, man.
Yep.
That's a
All right.
great one. My number one, Ray Lewis, a guy. He killed two guys. I mean, how can he be not number one? Like, I don't understand how is Ray Lewis not number one. And I know it was like self defense and everything, but like also the guy just brought so much energy and passion, and he spoke in like such like soliloquies and like poems, but like they were like intense and like I would run through a wall, and I respected him his gameplay, and he just never took a play off. He was always running around like a chicken without a head, like just going side to side. He just was he always wanted to deliver the knockout blow. Every tackle it wasn't just to get the guy down; he wanted to end his soul, and that's why I think Ray Lewis, should be number one. And two murders doesn't hurt either.
Well, I mean, we're saying scariest player, right? I don't have Ray in my top 5, and that's again, this is like, I mean, I have 14 names on my list, right? So it's
Yeah,
not to belittle anybody, right? And this is again why lists are debatable. But number one, I told you for me was LT. I don't want to be redundant, so my new replaced number one is Big Mean Joe Green from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean,
you went
again,
old school, like real.
I did, dude. Football was different then, bro. Like you can't even try to argue that football was not a different level of violence and insanity in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s than it is today. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course. That's why I don't have any real. There's only one player I had.
I actually have one. I have 1.5 players that play, like one that plays definitively right now. One that I'm not. I'd have to Google to see if he's actually on a roster somewhere.
Yeah.
He probably is. But Joe Green, again, Mean Joe Green, like not an accident that's his name. Part of that vaunted steel curtain defense. Did a lot. Rushed off the edge, could clog your middle. Powers, like literally, like, all right. So if we're going back, you know what another movie that we didn't freaking reference is No Holds Bar.
Yes.
Zeus and Hulk Hogan and Bruce
right.
Barbecue. But like, I only thought of that because, like, do you remember the wrestler Big Boss Man?
Yeah.
He'd catch you on the side and like slam you down to the ground. I mean, I have visions of Joe Green doing that in my head. And again, Jack Lambert, Joe Green, all these guys, they were all part of that crazy vaunted steel curtain defense that literally invented, in my opinion, this notion of like defense wins championships, right? Like, does anybody really look at Terry Bradshaw and be like, you're an NFL, like, you know what I mean? Like what his skill set and what he did. And I know he won 4 Super Bowls as a Steeler, blah, 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 blah.
There's
blah,
like
blah.
4 or
was
5
carried by that defense.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 great defense in NFL history, and the Pittsburgh Steel defense. That's one of the top lowers out there. I agree.
Yeah, 100%. What was the Rams defense? That defensive line, like Deacon Jones and those guys. I'm trying to remember what they were actually called. And then you had the Purple Man Eaters, right? The Vikings defense.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay Bucks, but they were different. They weren't.
Yeah, that was Tony Dungy, Tampa 2 sort of.
So they flew around. All right, so I have 2 honorable mentions.
Let's do it.
I'll do my. I'm just going to spew them out real quick. Aaron Donald. He's the only one that I have out there. The reason why he's smaller than everyone for his position, really, and he's tougher than anyone in his position. He just has that gangster mentality, like kind of like that Chicago gangster mentality, kind of quiet but like confident type shit. And believe it or not, this might shock you. What about Steve Atwater? You're talking about the safeties flying down at all. If you want to see some good hits, man, Steve Atwater, the Denver Broncos, brought
Different.
it. Yeah.
Different.
One of the things he was famous for was, if listeners don't know, Christian Okoye was on the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was called the Nigerian Nightmare because he was so much bigger and run over people, right? He always run over people. I liked Christian Okoye, growing up. Steve Atwater came down one time, met him at the line of scrimmage, and blew up Okoye. And Okoye was never ever the same after that one play. He became like, it changed Okoye his whole career after that. So Steve
Atwater was an animal, man. He was an animal, and that, God, like someone like calling out some of these names, man. I really miss football when we were growing up.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
so what were your two? Do you have any honorable mentions?
I do. So the lone offensive player on my list is Trent Williams, actually. Current
offensive tackle. Larry Allen. I get it. Yeah, no, he's scary.
Come on, man. We could pull up 7 YouTube videos right now of him murdering people offline. And you talked about what Larry Allen can do from an athletic ability standpoint. I mean, Trent Williams is just the 2010s version and 2020s version of what Larry Allen was in the 90s, in the early 2000s. Another one for me is, and this might be a little controversial actually, but alumni of Ball So Hard University. Do you remember that? You don't remember?
You're talking about Suggs?
Yeah, Terrell Suggs.
Yeah.
So Terrell does have more finesse to his game than like some of these other players that we were talking about, but he's got that longevity piece. But when I think of scariest players, like I challenge any listener right now, go Google Terrell Suggs right now and look at that face and tell me you want to see that man at the other end of an alley one-on-one by yourself. He might be the ugliest man I ever did see in my entire life. But T-Sizzle, I'll never, ever forget. I don't remember if it was like, because it's varied, if that was like a Monday night game or a Sunday night game when they used to introduce themselves and everybody started like going to like what high school they came from versus what college. But he came out and said Ball So Hard University. But Arizona State alum, Terrell Suggs was up there. And then one, I mean, I don't think you can have a list without having Dick Butkus on it.
I have him on there. I have him. I definitely have Butkus. And I also have shout out to Takeo Spikes.
Yeah.
That wide neck,
Bro. I mean, played for both of our squads. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy with that. Charles Haley is another one that comes to mind. Former Niner, former Cowboy. Yeah. I think outside Tom Brady, he might have the most Super Bowl rings of any player that's ever played. But he was a dirty player, but he was a dirty player inside the locker room too, man. You hear some of those stories that he used to do around reporters and whipping his shit out in front of people, just like a filthy human being.
How did we not also John Randall?
Yeah.
John Randall's more entertaining, though. He's more entertaining. Yeah. All right, so what's our next list?
So right now we're going to parlay into our personal most hated players through our fandom, right? So I expect us to have some drastic differences here because, like, you probably have very specific players from very specific teams. And I'm going to shock you. I do the same. All right. Number 5.
So, dude, I'm sorry. I know I'm sniping you right off the bat, and this is kind of your fault. And you warned me about this individual coming to the AFC West this year, and I've never had an issue with this individual before. Because I don't think I ever really followed him as closely from a personal standpoint, like a social media standpoint and stuff like that. But Russell Wilson, I really hate him.
Yeah, I haven't even had to deal with him yet. Just wait.
I know, because he is good. He's one of those quarterbacks that are not good during the first 3 quarters, and he'll beat you in the 4th and ultimately win it. But he is one of the corniest sons of bitches out there, and it's going to be real frustrating to lose to this corny son of a bitch. It's just Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
this is a new hatred for me.
I'm really gonna have to pivot because that's literally my 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Like, is Russell Wilson. But let me tell you a little bit about Russell Wilson and why you're gonna hate this man. Because for 3.5 quarters, he looks like he doesn't even play in the NFL. Now, I'm not just saying he'd like.
That's like Eli.
Like he comes back and wins in the 4th quarter. Like for 3.5 quarters, he looks lost out there. Offenses look freaking anemic. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I play football. Like literally just like that. Oh yeah, I play football. Now, for the long time when the 49ers and Seahawks were very competitive in the 2010s, right? Like in that era, 49ers were not known to be this offensive juggernaut, right? Our defense is what won us games. So we'd lose those games because when he was non-existent for 3.5 quarters, we never pulled away. It was always close enough that he could do something and come back. What I think he's going to realize, or what I think is going to happen to him, and I literally am waiting to watch this, and this is a bold prediction, is he ain't going to be able to fall asleep at the fucking wheel for 3.5 quarters in the AFC West. Can't do it. These offenses will put up 30 points on you before you know it, and that becomes insurmountable. And you know what? The Denver Broncos, while a good football team, still don't have the defense that the Seattle Seahawks did while Russ was cooking and things were going on. This ain't the Legion of Boom. You know what I mean? This ain't the same team.
I'm praying from your lips to God's ears, man.
I think
it's gonna be hard. It is gonna be hard to lose to this guy and hear the after game speech, and then on social media, watching his corny ass video, I'm like, wow, we lost to the biggest cornball of all time.
You want to know why you want to hate him? Yes, he's corny, but he is the ultimate team player. He's the ultimate face of a franchise. There's nobody better than him. He says everything right. He literally does, right? If he didn't play for the Seattle Seahawks for as long as he did and go against my team twice a year, I'd probably love the guy and respect that he's just a natural born winner and he does all the things right. And he's a great spokesperson for the NFL. And he's going to stay in this league for a really, really long time. And he's going to be an announcer and he's going to be all of those things. But I fucking hate him. I hate him. I need 4 or 5 years. I need 4 or 5. He's too good when it matters. Right. I respect Russell Wilson. I really do. I really, really do. But I need 4 or 5 years with him not fucking up my life multiple times a year to get over that.
Well, now he's in our division. So
yeah. So
lucky me. Who's your number 5?
All right, number 5 for me. And this is going to be this is the epitome of Alanis Morissette song. Isn't it ironic? Deion Sanders. Why is this ironic? Because he's actually probably one of my top 5 favorite athletes of all time. I have his 49ers throwback 94 jersey when he won the Super Bowl. Loved him. Loved everything about Prime when he was an Atlanta Falcon. Why? Because for most of the time when
Atlanta beat down on them.
Yeah, most people don't remember that the Atlanta Falcons were actually in the NFC West, along with the New Orleans Saints at one point in time. Yeah. And the Rams, that was our division. The Seahawks actually used to be in the AFC. That's how far we go back.
AFC West.
So the reality is they were irrelevant, right? They had Deion, they had Andre Bad Moon Rising, and that's a Chris Berman name, by the way, Bad Moon Rising. But when he left us and he went to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes. Come on, man. Deion was just he was like a mercenary. Burp him the most. Yeah.
Yeah. And listen,
that, but I get it,
he could have gone to any other team in the NFL, and I wouldn't have hated on him for that. But he is literally one of my top favorite players of all time. With Jerry,
epic battles with Jerry Rice. Steve Young hated him. Bro, he had to hate him.
2 best players at their position of all time. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You're right.
And
no lies there.
And these teams played against each other in the NFC Championship every year. You know what I mean? But I love Deion. I've worn my Deion jersey on this show when we've recorded before. But for a long time, I hated him more than anything because he was a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
All right.
My number 4 probably will shock you. Once again, it'd be weird to have a player that's on, that you support, that's on the team that you support, be on your list. But I do have a San Diego Charger on my list.
Don't you dare say Natron Means.
No, Natron. No, I love Natron Means, but it's Nate Kading, the Chargers kicker. I know exactly where I was at the time watching them play the Jets. The Jets were they backed into the playoffs and back in 2010. They were just they were like a blue collar team. And like, okay, like there was no reason why the game should have been that close, so you could have blamed it on Rivers. But the Chargers lost 17-14, and it was because of Nate Kading, because he missed. This guy was a Pro Bowler. He was the best kicker in the NFL at the time.
Could have been Scott Norwood.
He missed, he missed 3 field goals. 2 were from 37 and 40 yards. And he missed 3 field goals. How did he miss 3 field goals in a game? Pro Bowler. Like, I've never seen someone have like the yips like that before. So Nate Kading, you're my number 4.
So funny, dude. I was watching on the NFL Network a week or so ago. I only watched a little bit of it, but it was one of the playoff games, Chargers Colts. This is when Manning was still a Colt. So I don't remember
I know exactly where it was.
I don't remember if this was the year that the Colts went to the Super Bowl and that's why they were showing that game.
Was it in San Diego?
No, it was in Indy.
We won that game.
You won. That's the year that you lost to the
Patriots.
Jets in the NFC Championship, right?
No, not the Patriots, because LT had he hurt his knee. He had sprained MCL, and Rivers had a torn ACL. But then they went to New England. Yeah.
So Nate Kading actually missed a field goal in that game, hit the post.
Dude, no, it wasn't just the Jets game. He missed clutch field goals. Like,
nope. This is a playoff game,
and he would never miss it in the regular season. It was always in the playoffs, bro.
But what I loved about it was Bob Sanders. We all remember the eraser, Bob Sanders, another violent football player who was real good and had his prime taken out from underneath him. After Kading missed the field goal, he like jumps on Kading to like celebrate, like he would celebrate with one of his own teammates, and got a 15-yard on sports and like conduct penalty after. And I changed the channel, but it's just so relevant that like you're bringing it up right now, and I literally just watched that happen.
All right, let's not throw more salt in the wound. That was hard for me to do.
All right. Number 5 for me.
4.
4, Emmitt Smith.
I'm noticing a theme here.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Cowboys on this list, just so we're clear. But that was my era growing up, man. You know what I mean? That was the battle. That was the early 90s, man. It was just the Cowboys and the 49ers and the Cowboys and the 49ers and the Cowboys and the 49ers in the NFC. And it was just like rinse and repeat, man. It's just a matter of who was going to host the NFC Championship game.
There was a 3-way tangle. You had the Packers too.
That was mid 90s. Yeah. That was mid 90s. Early 90s I mean, dude, I can't tell you how many years 49ers would go 13-3, be the best team in the NFC, best team in the NFL record wise. And then Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, and boys just figured out a way, mostly behind Larry Allen and that offensive line and what they were able to do, like you referenced earlier. Hated Emmitt Smith. Hated Emmitt Smith.
All right. Well, I will stick with the same theme for my number 3rd most hated player. It'll be a division rival, Tyreek Hill. And the reason why for Tyreek Hill, not a big fan of the person. Won't get too much into that. If you know, you know, type stuff. But also, he would kill the Chargers. Either he would exploit blown coverages, or at times the Chargers have perfect coverage on him. And it's just that his speed, you can't cover speed. Yeah. And he just would. I would hold my breath anytime the ball, with Mahomes throw the ball deep to Hill, and just pray. You know, it'd just be an incompletion, because two out of 3 times it's either going to be a caught pass for a touchdown or pass interference. By a defensive back. And Tyreek Hill, I'm going to say, you can say I might be a little bit happy he's no longer in the AFC West. Yeah. Just a little bit.
Actually, I hate Tyreek Hill too, the player. He's on my list, but he's not like in my top 5 my list. He's an honorable mention. But I'll stay on this point for a moment. And what I hate about him, outside the person, is to me, it's like his athletic ability and his traits or whatever are just speed, right? Like things that just can't be coached, can't be taught, can't be whatever. Like, other than that, like I don't know what value. Like, I'm thrilled to death he's on the Miami Dolphins, because watch this man flounder. Like, don't give me you can use him the way like use Debo. No, he ain't built that way, right? Like, you can't. They're going to try to. Trust me, they're going to try to.
They will.
But he'll
Yeah.
become a gadget player. He's not going to be that deep threat because he doesn't have Mahomes airing that thing out to him like he's had in Kansas City. And I have reason to hate him. Maybe because of a Super Bowl on 3rd and 15, he catches this pass downfield on a potentially busted coverage where Nick Bosa is literally being mugged behind the line of scrimmage that should have been called for holding and had the play called back. But aside from that, like, what I hate is the fanfare around him and like he's a top 5 receiver in the league, he's a top 5 receiver in the league, top 5 receiver. Like, I don't know if I subscribe to that. Like, I don't know if I subscribe to that based on what I look for in my wide receivers. To me, he's a one-trick pony. He's a one-trick pony. Don't like him. It does the trick really well, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
you sure he's on your list? That sounds like number 4 to me.
No, he's on, dude. It was close contention.
Okay.
What am I at? Number 3?
Yeah.
Brett Favre.
No,
so now we're just translating into the.
I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna see if I can predict your next one. But go ahead with Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. Listen, and I'm gonna be very clear. Every single person that's on my list, -1, I actually respect. Like, respect, right? Like, the hatred here and why I hate them is because they're really freaking good. You know what I mean? And they're really good because we are playing in big time games against big time players, and they showed up. The Brett Favre was playing in the NFL. Like, I'll look at you right now and tell you he's in my top 10 Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks all time. What he's done, what he's accomplished, the way he played the game, the way he approached the game. Problem is sometimes that screwed my team over, right? And like, I feared going and playing against Brett Favre because he was a risk taker, he was a gunslinger, he wasn't afraid to throw that ball, even when times when you're like, you should not throw that pass, and that pass should not have been completed in blanket coverage. But it would still be completed. And may have been a massive catch from Sterling Sharp, if you remember Sterling Sharp and not Shannon Sharp, or Antonio Freeman, or Robert Brooks. These wide receivers that they have that probably should have gotten more of the accolade for the play and the completion, but Brett Favre would for like, look where he put that ball, where only they could catch it, sort of thing. Yeah. I hated Brett Favre. Hated him. Brett Favre.
So it's funny. My Brett Favre is Tom Brady. He's my number 2 most hated player.
Fucking hate him too.
But the reason why is just Tom Brady is like death and taxes. It's inevitable that he's gonna, if you give him the ball down, a touchdown or less, it's gonna be scored. And I've seen it single-handedly done to the Chargers 2 or 3 times where I felt like the Chargers had a way better team than the Patriots. I've also seen it done to the Atlanta Falcons 28-3. Like, this guy is just, he's inevitable. He's, you cannot, he's destiny.
Yep.
And you can't beat him. You cannot beat him.
Respect him. Hate him.
You got beat, between Eli and Nick Foles, but like, it was just a hiccup. He came back next year and won it, again. Yeah. So it's just, I hate him because he's so good and he crushes all your hopes and dreams.
Yeah. Relentless individual. Again, I think when these names appear on our list, it is a sign of admiration, it is a sign of respect outside of Tyreek.
My next one is not a sign of admiration or respect. You'll wait to hear that.
All right. So I think I'm on number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Irvin. I love Irv. Like, the playmaker, you know what I mean? Like, a baller, but I'm taking it back to the rivalry and big catches in big time places. He did, man. He did big time. The one that sticks out to me is when Dion owned him in the game, and that was the 94 NFC Championship game, the 95 Super Bowl.
Watched it last week.
Yeah, dude. Dion was on point that game and just went everywhere. Actually, for most of the game, it was thought that he was going to line up across Alvin Harper, so they thought they were going to have Irvin on Eric Davis, all day long. But Eric Davis had that quick pick 6 in that game. But there's a potential pass interference penalty that could have been called on Dion that wasn't called on Dion, that Irv still talks about to this day, and we'll talk to Dion about it when they ever battle on the NFL Network. But Irvin was just a playmaker, man. Like, that run game, him, Alvin Harper, Jay Novacek, they made Troy Aikman look a lot. Actually, it's funny, dude. He's not on my list, Troy Aikman. He should be on my list. I just like my memory tells me that Troy Aikman wasn't a great quarterback, right? It was the players around him and the scheme and all those things. But I've gone like through NFL Network and other things. I've watched some old Cowboy games. I'm like, Aikman was a better player than most people give him credit for. Like he was a legit quarterback, legit player. But yeah, Michael Irvin, dude. And the reason why is because when he'd make the play, everybody knew about it.
Okay. I got to read on you. I know who your number one is, by the way. I'm pretty confident in that. All right. So my number one, I told you I couldn't put, it was hard for me to put one San Diego Charger on the list. But no, I do not have just one. I got two. Coming in at number one of my most hated NFL players of all time, I have the safety of the San Diego Chargers, Marlon McCree. Now, why Marlon McCree?
Yeah, why McCree?
Why Marlon McCree, right?
Yeah.
For those, we were just talking about Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Why not Stan Humphries or why not?
Dude, I'm going to tell you why. In 2006, the Chargers were the team to beat in the NFL. They were 14-2. They had 11 Pro Bowl players, bro. LT scored 31 touchdowns.
I had him on my fantasy team that year, by the way.
Like I said, he led him to a 14-2 record, right? All right. 2006 AFC divisional round. The Chargers are hosting the New England Patriots. Patriots are not better than the Chargers this year. They are not. Chargers are up 8 points. Patriots are driving. There's 6 minutes left in the game. Marlon McCree intercepts Tom Brady in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes left in the game. And then when he's returning it, he fucking fumbles the ball. gives it back to Tom Brady. You giving Tom Brady a second life?
Yeah.
You're giving Tom Brady.
Might as well just walked off the field.
Let me tell you why this was so awful to watch. Of course, Tom Brady comes down at the second life, scores a touchdown, 2-point conversion. Ironically, he went to Rasheed Caldwell, who was a former Charger. Right? But if they don't fumble the ball, Chargers win. They go play the Colts. They play the Colts. There were certain teams back in that era that always owned other teams. The Colts always owned the Steelers. Guess who also always owned the Colts? The Chargers. Chargers were just always more physical. They would have beaten the Colts. Firm believer of that. And then they would have played the Bears in the Super Bowl. You see why
the Rex Grossman led Bears?
The Rex Grossman led Bears. Now, why am I so mad? That was the year.
That was it. That was when it was supposed to happen.
Marlon McCree, you ruined fandom for me.
I mean, God, I could throw Kyle Williams, who, fumbled the punt return in overtime, and you gave Eli Manning a second chance in OT. And they went on to play the Patriots and beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And I would tell you that that 49er football team was infinitely better than any team in the NFL that year. Infinitely better. That defense, dude, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Was unbelievable. So Russell Wilson's my number one. I have shifted the list and I just bumped everybody up. Like you said, Russell Wilson was your 5.
So
Russell Wilson is my number one, but my former number 2, who is now my number 1, because once you said Russell, I don't want to be redundant. I took him out of my list. I said that he was my 1 through 4. Hate Russell Wilson. It is Aaron fucking Rodgers.
Aaron.
He is so smug. He is so. Again, this is a compliment. A compliment in that he's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever lace him up, dude. Mm-hmm. In the regular season, I'm saying what we do to him. We own Aaron Rodgers, actually, when all said and done, right? The Packers tend to be the only games they've ever beat us, like Nick Mullins starting quarterback, right? Like in recent memory and time,
So you just hate the persona.
I just hate the person. I just hate the persona. I hate the person. I hate the every year, am I coming back? This is what I'm doing. You know what I mean? The drag out. Some of the same reasons I hate Tom Brady. Like, dude, Tom Brady, what the fuck do you need to prove to the NFL? Like, just go hang out with your wife who makes $400 million a year and what she's doing. Like, you don't need to be in this league. You don't need the money. It's why you've never been the top paid quarterback in the NFL, because you literally are like, I don't need it. Like, go get me other players. You know what I mean? Like, you're not clamoring for it. Aaron Rodgers. I thought you were actually going to suspect that I had Aaron Donald in my top five here. That's it. That's Aaron Rodgers. Fuck
all right.
It's that simple.
Fuck your life.
Yep.
All right. So I think we should pick up the pace a little bit. And let's focus on the top 5 uniforms of all time.
Let's do it.
You can go first this time.
All right. Number 5. Believe it or not, everything that I just said, the Green Bay Packers traditional green and gold.
Dude, you need to see it shrink, bro.
But here's why. My high school football team, so our colors were literally like our color scheme, palette, design of our uniform, everything identical to the Green Bay Packers home and away unis, except on our helmet, instead of a G for Green Bay, it was a C for our mascot. But if you weren't like staring next to the actual decal on the helmet, you legit, like, we looked like the Green Bay Packers. Like, everything to the T looked like the Green Bay Packers. And so I have a natural infatuation, because I wore that uniform and wore it pretty damn well, if I do say so myself, for a couple of years.
All right. So funny they said that, because coming in my 5th ranked top NFL uniform of all time was also inspired by my school, but it's inspired by my elementary school. See, I'm a Southern Stallion. What Southern Stallions are, we're black and red, right? That
doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, because it was just too controversial. Things were going down there, bro. You don't even know about. Maybe this fine gentleman that I am today. So, all kidding aside, the Atlanta Falcons throwback jersey. And let me explain what this is. It's the one with the white pants, the black jersey, and the red helmet. Love that look. It's clean. It's badass. I just love the contrast of the red and the black. For me, it's the Atlanta Falcons throwback jersey. Big fan of it.
Yeah.
And awesome. We might have some of the same. I'm still gonna.
We'll have one or two of the same. I think we'll have some difference. My number 4, New Orleans Saints All Blacks.
Okay.
Just that black, that gold. It's simple, it's sharp, it's intimidating, in a dome, pumping music, like noise literally through the crowd. Like it's just like, I'm not one for like obnoxious, crazy colors, right? Like, to me, that's how I dress in my day. Like, black, gold, grays, you know what I mean? Like, it's like what I wear in my everyday. Like, to me, if I was going into the NFL and I'm like, oh, please don't send me to a team that wears like the 1980s, like Cleveland Browns uniforms, like, or purple in Minnesota. You know what I mean? Like, send me to the Saints. At least I could feel like I look good when I walk on the uniform. So the all black Saints.
You look good, play good. That's what they say.
That's it, man.
I think that's a lie, by the way. All right. So coming to number 4 is going to be, I'm a huge Mitchell Ness fan. So I like older school uniforms. It's going to be the New England Patriots Pat the Patriot red jersey.
So sharp.
Yo, so sharp. I feel like that red pops out. Like, it's just the shade of the red just pops out. It's like an attention seeker right there. Love Pat the Patriot on the helmet. Clean look. It literally looks like that these were our forefathers wore when we were fighting the British. Like, I'm telling you, man, Pat, this is my number 4. Love the clean look and the sharp look, man.
They're an honorable mention for me, for sure, dude. The red, white, and blue, Pat the Patriot on the side. Like, you took the words right out of my mouth. Like, it felt like that uniform was created when our country had 13 stars on the flag.
Yo, Sam Adams. Sam Adams was number 2.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, ridiculous. All right, number 3 for me, the Powder Blues from the San Diego Chargers. Have they worn them in LA? Yeah, they've worn them once in LA. What?
3?
3, yeah, 3.
Oh, we're gonna put this one to a vote. Go ahead.
All right. The Chargers powder blue. Like they're sharp, they're clean, but they ain't the first team to wear powder blue. You remember the Houston Oilers? They wore some powder blue in their day as well, right? So lose some points for originality.
Chargers were before the Oilers in the AFL.
That's true too.
Ah,
Fair point. I stand corrected. Well done. I just remember Earl Campbell in that powder blue, man, back in the day with dyes that were as thick as human beings. But that being said,
wow.
actually, you remember my favorite Houston Oilers player of all time? Do you remember Haywood Jeffries, the wide receiver, Haywood Jeffries?
I do remember.
Oh my God, I loved him, dude.
I followed the Houston Oilers back then too.
Yeah, the Chargers powder blue. I mean, listen, dude, like these next two that I'm gonna rattle, these are just like pure preference. Like the Charger powder blue is dope, bro. There's not a more popular jersey I think that was out than like number 21 on that powder blue. Like it's dope.
I personally am.
It's your number one. I know
this might be one of the most offensive things you ever said to me.
Dude, you're in my top 3.
You ain't first, you're last.
Like
if you ain't first, you're last.
You act like I'm treating him like he's Aaron Donald and not in my top 3.
All right, ready for my third one. It's the Dallas Cowboys, but it's the Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving jerseys. I'm talking about the ones with the white shoulders, the big star here, the white helmet.
The one you think of when you think of Tony Romo when he played.
Those were smooth, man, and they were just good reveal during Thanksgiving. They were a smooth look. I love the dark navy and the white, just clean look, crisp.
Listen, yeah, I mean, even the Dallas Cowboys, like regular uniforms are pretty dope, but there will never be a Dallas Cowboy anything on any of my lists unless there's hate in front of it. That's just the way that it goes.
All right.
All right, number 2 for me are a little bit more modern, a little bit more new, and it's the Dolphins all white unis.
Okay.
Just dope, dude. I am a fucking sucker for all white, man. Like it is this with that little bit of their teal in there, a little bit of that like orange on the helmet. Just a clean look as a former football player like who went above and beyond with wristbands and a lot of things to look pretty on the field.
You're talking like a skill position or like an outside
position. Yeah. They don't look good on the fat man.
We don't look good at all white.
No, like black is a better color. Yeah. Black is a slimming color.
No stripes, please. I would not want to play, for like wear the throwbacks of the Denver Broncos. Those brown and yellows.
Oh my God, dude. But those all whites, they're just clean. All right.
So the aforementioned before you were talking about perhaps the second coming to the powder blues, the Houston Oilers. I told you I followed the Oilers back then. Big fan of the Houston Oilers. I love the powder blue, but with the red. That contrast is sweet.
The red in the lettering.
Yeah,
in
the numbering. And the clear, the clean
with the white pants. With the white
pants, dude. Yes, it had like the Oiler logo on the side of the white helmet. That was a great look. Always a fan of those navy blue. And like you said, you're talking about Warren Moon. You're talking about Earl Campbell. Looks good, man. Looks good.
Yeah. All right. Well, number 1 is a homer for me, but it's the 94 retro throwback. Last year, the 49ers won the Super Bowl, all whites with that gold helmet. Just the black, the red, the gold, the coloring.
Do this, man.
Nah, man, dude. Come on.
I would love to put a poll. So my number 1 is the Chargers.
Yeah, the powder blue.
But if I was really get into the weeds here, it would be the AFL anniversary Chargers powder blue, whereas the powder blue throwback jersey. You have the bolt here and on the white stripe there, but then you also have the cool AFL patch that's red there too. And I also liked it too because it had the black numbers on the helmet and the old school numbering. So for me, it's that. But yeah, the Chargers powder blue. I would love to run a poll.
Please, I want you to.
No, it's not. Listen, there's more. Obviously, I'm not an idiot. There's more Niner than Chargers fans, but I'd love to run a poll where Niner fans nor Chargers fans can vote and see, all right, what is the better jersey?
Yeah.
So you're doing it. You're doing it because I get it. It's a home.
No, it's not a homer. It's. I mean, maybe it feels homer because it's like I've seen it so much and I'm so conditioned to it and I love it. But I told you, like, even look at my number twos, like the Dolphins all whites, right? Like, I'm a sucker for that all white, and then you pop a little red and a little gold in there, a little color, like. Dude, it's a combination of everything we just talked about. What I talk about, like with the All Blacks for the Saints, that gold, right? And then you talked about what you love about the powder blue of the Oilers with the red lettering, right? Like it, and then red and the red trim around the numbers. Like it's just a combination of those things surrounded by all white, and it's just a preference. It feels homer because it's my squad, but like they're dope, dude. I have text messages from so many people that when they wear those uniforms that are non-49 Giant fans, et cetera, that text me like, bro, those unis are tight. They're tight. But everybody loves the powder blue. It's probably the most famous, man.
Yes,
it honestly is.
Look,
All
the
right.
Chargers are not good at a lot. That's one thing they got right.
All right. Final topic. Let's run right through this and then we'll wrap it up because we're running long. So let's wrap it up with a little dessert. No pun intended. But favorite football game snacks.
All right. I'll start off.
Go.
Underrated, and this is probably more of like a New Jersey thing or Italian thing, but believe it or not, I'm having coming in hot number 5, mozzarella sticks. Nothing better than a crispy mozzarella stick. Put it in that marinara. Boom. It's handheld. You can get a couple in your hand. It's easy to eat. Mozzarella sticks.
Dude, it's so funny because it must be a New Jersey thing because mozzarella sticks was my number 5 as well.
Wow, shocking.
But I'm going to caveat this right now. I do not eat during football games, especially in the hours leading up to a 49er game. And then depending upon the game, the hours after the game. So like my actual favorite snack is wine. I am just drinking during the game and trying to get through it and leading up to the game and trying to calm my nerves.
Like grapes.
No bullshit. Like I don't eat. Essentially on Sundays, like I don't eat outside of breakfast. If you're going to a game, you know what I mean? Like somebody's house, a bar.
Exactly. Someone's house. Here you are, Super Bowl Sunday.
But I am big on eating when the 49ers are on a bye week or Super Bowl or a playoff game or something like that, where I have a couple games I can watch to get through the day and I'm not a nervous. Dude, let's put it this way.
Weston, I get it. You don't eat. I eat a lot. All right. That's what we're
Bro, like when I went to the Green Bay game, I don't think I ate for a day and a half. You know what I mean? Just like, cause it's just like all like I'm just literally not hungry because I'm just an emotional disaster leading into the games. That passionate. All right, what's number 4?
All right, we're gonna bring in some pigs in the blanket. Let's roll those bad boys up. Once again, another thought process, handheld. You can do 2 things. You can dump them in cheese. You can dump them in hot, honey mustard. I'm not a big mustard guy, so if that floats your boat, or ketchup. See, it's a vessel to 4 different types of dips that you also can include with that.
You need a spicy brown mustard is what you need to be dipping them in. Actually, that's a great pull. I didn't have it on my list, even though I love them. My wife actually calls them Franklins. I don't know where that came from, but I just call them pigs. I call them pigs in a blanket too.
Piggies in a blanket.
Number 4 for me is Tostitos and cheese dip.
Oh, okay.
Handheld dip. Love me that cheese dip. You heat it up in the microwave for a little bit. You dump those Tostitos in, scrape it, get the spoon and yoke it onto the big Tostito. But it has to be, in this day and age, this is how bougie I've become. It has to be the scoops, the Tostito scoops.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So you can get a full boat of the cheese to be able to jump into it.
I agree with you. For me, number 3, the hot pretzels. It could be from Philadelphia Pretzel Company, like the little nuggets, whatever. But once again, my mindset, you need a vessel. I like the pretzels, the vessel. The sauces or the dips are the addition to it. So you can, once again, you got the honey mustard. You can do like the cinnamon, the cheese. There's so many things you can do to switch up that snack, man. So I'm saying the hot pretzels.
So you're a honey mustard guy. You're not a mustard guy.
No,
what I'm vibing with right
I will not allow mustard in my house. So honey mustard, sure, but not mustard. Your kind ain't welcome here.
Wow. So you don't eat pretzels at stadiums?
Why?
What else you dipping in at a stadium?
I can eat it raw. Like I just regular
Oh
cheese.
my
Cheese. You can cheese too if they have
God,
cheese,
you
man.
raw dog those pretzels without anything. You're a gangster, bro. Number 3 for me is a good old fashioned hot stadium hot dog.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna blow you. Ketchup and mustard on the hot dog same time. Go ahead, crush that. But like, there's nothing like a ballpark dog. They're garbage. They're absolute dog shit. They're microwaved and boiled and whatnot. But it's just the feel of the stadium, the feel of being there. And if I'm home, I'll throw some hot dogs on the grill. But the hot dogs I use are I'm drawing a complete blank on the name. I don't do like the Nathans or the ballpark dogs. I do
Horsehead?
the no, they're like long, like, and you got to get like the extra long bun, or you basically cut them in half and draw. I just had them like 2 days ago. I'm drawing a complete blank on the name of who actually makes them. Nonetheless, a hot dog is definitely always an all-time game snack.
All right. Coming at two from number me for me again. Think about it, I like the versatility, and I like the versatility of what wings can bring you. It can be boneless or boned in. I don't discriminate, but if I want some honey barbecue, I want some buffalo, I want some crazy, maybe like a habanero, like sweet like habanero sauce, or maybe even a garlic parmesan. So I love wings, like I said, because you can dress them up in so many different ways, and you can eat a lot of them throughout the day, but switch it up.
Here's the big money question: you blue cheese or ranch?
None. I don't like that stuff.
Oh, dude, blue cheese all day. All right, wings are number 2 for me as well. It's funny is because over
Oh,
time,
I got two questions for you since they're wings for you. Two questions: boned or boneless?
boned
Okay. Flats or drumsticks?
flats.
Okay.
Um,
I am
you
boned.
can get.
I do love boneless, and I
I
like
eat boneless too.
drumsticks.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
I
I
know
dude, I like
I know flats you get more meat and all, but I like the drumsticks. I feel it's crunchier.
you get more meat. They tend to be a little bit more manageable. You know what I mean? You can kind of split them and kind of go
Yeah.
from there and clean off the bone a little bit. What's funny, dude, is I was always a buffalo wing guy, right? Like, love buffalo stuff. Um, but lately I've been getting into, like you said, like more sweet versus like hot and spicy. So like the garlic parmesan. I got a place by us actually. I mean, it's Red Bank versus Little Silver. They have a sick like like
Where do
a
you go?
barbecue New Corner.
New Corner. They're
Yep.
good.
New Corner Pizza. It's right on West Front. It's right on West Front Street, next to like where the Globe used to be, where that parking garage is. So
Okay.
like
Okay.
it's quasi across from Riverview. They're all right. I mean, they got other food and stuff that we get, but I always get it as an appetizer. And I've gone to their barbecue wing. Um, it's like more breaded, like a garlic parmesan would be, than just like a buffalo wing would be. They're pretty stellar, dude.
Try Jackson Fairhaven too. Their wings are pretty good. They got a lot of different sauces and stuff.
I mean, nothing beats Cluck You, dude. We used to go to Cluck
Oh,
You and eat
dude,
that shit
I used
back
to
in the
live down
day.
the road from a Cluck U in college, man. I can tell you exactly what I got. All right,
Number
so
one.
coming in number one. Once again, I got to throw the Italian card out there. It's pizza. It's classic. Once again, dressed up in different ways: pepperoni, plain peppers and onions, sausage, you name it. You can get a good pizzeria, or if you want to slum it, you can even maybe do like a Pizza Hut with cheese in the crust type stuff. It's just there's so many different options for you. It's traditional, easy to eat, one handed. With the fold up and everything. It's got to be
Well,
pizza.
so we have to be careful here with pizza, dude. Because if you don't live in New York, New Jersey, or Chicago, you're wasting your fucking time with
Well, then
pizza.
you're dead to me.
Yeah, you're wasting your time, right? Like, Chicago's got the deep dish, which is delicious. The deep dish pizza is delicious. You actually did a tour out there, and right, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then, or no, and you did it
No, I've
through
done Chicago. I've done
Brooklyn. You did a bunch of pizza spots in
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn.
twice in Manhattan. In addition, what else did I do? Oh, Jersey City, Hoboken,
Yeah,
and
it's
there
in
was
the
another one.
water. Like, if you're eating pizza in California, I don't even talk to you. Like, I
Yeah.
have nothing to say to you. Like, it's in the water that makes the dough. It's different around here. Uh, like, you literally can't find a bad pizza place where we live, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can find ones that feel a little bit better, like, and that's based on like their toppings and their specialty pies and coal fire versus, traditional oven.
Yeah, but there's not one that's bad.
No, not one that's bad in our area, but you can go to other states. I've had some shitty pizza in my day, bro.
Yeah, well,
Some shitty pizza. Number one for me, buffalo chicken dip.
okay.
And I'm not just talking about like a store bought,
No,
like
I
they
understand
do
what you're
have some.
saying. I've had
I
some good ones.
make a buffalo chicken dip, and I'll tell you, it is my specialty item. One day, maybe if the listeners are fortunate, I might even tell you how I make it, but it takes me time. It's made with love. Like, dude, I can't go to a family party without somebody asking for this. If the 49ers are in a playoff game, bet your ass that's being served. I'm probably just not eating any of it because I can't. But like I'm making it to occupy my time before the game because to distract my mind. But I am a sucker. And don't give me your canned chicken nonsense. If you're coming at me like, oh, I bought this canned shredded chicken, like kill
No,
yourself. Kill yourself.
no, that's disgusting.
Yeah. Buffalo chicken dip. Number one for me, dude. All day long.
Big fan of buffalo chicken dip. I just feel like those wouldn't fill me up. The dips that you were talking about, like that those are more like appetizers for me. I wanted something more heartier, but I do love buffalo chicken dip. And you just gotta be careful out there with all this COVID and everything. You know, people double dipping. You don't want a double dipper. You
No,
don't want
no,
a double dipper.
no. So
It's like
there's
putting your mouth in the
there,
dip.
there's strict rules when I serve my buffalo dip. There are tiny paper plates next to it, and there's a spoon and scoop in there. Scoop it out, put it on your plate, and double dip and triple dip and do whatever the hell you want on your plate. But do not, the only person who puts a chip in my dish is me. Period, point blank. And you know what? I don't, here's another controversial topic. I don't use the traditional Tostito that people dip with. Club cracker.
All right, that's the secret, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention like crack. Like I grew up, dude. So for the longest time, every single Sunday, football was at my parents' house. Every single Sunday, right, all day long, and cheese and crackers. It was cheese and crackers, all different types of cheese, like mustard jack, mustard cheese, pepper jack, smoked Gouda. List goes on and on. Like, and that was a snack. That was the thing. But like, I've gravitated away for that and gotten into some other things. But I'm gonna go back to my original statement. My traditional Sunday diet is red wine. All day long, just all day long, all day long. Lou, this was a lot of fun, man. It got us out of our
It breaks up the monotony, you know.
yeah, it breaks up the monotony. You got to go into your bag of tricks, even though we're not talking about players and but still talking about all aspects around the sport we love. So I'll give credit where credit is due. This show was 100% your idea. In fact, you proposed 95% of the topics that we covered. So minus one, right? So what do we have? 5. So 90% of the topics you proposed. But I had a lot of fun doing it. I had a lot of fun kind of like just thinking through my thoughts and some of my catchphrases and going down memory lane with some of this stuff. So I appreciate you for it. But Lou, like I always do, remind the listeners where they can find us.
You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at WTF Pod NFL. And Weston, how can they subscribe to our YouTube channel?
Real simple, real easy. We're talking football. Don't forget that apostrophe RE in the We're Talking Football on YouTube. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're coming up on the season, so you can bet your bottom dollar that there's going to be plenty of more content to come in short order. Lou, always a pleasure, my brother. Till next time.
Take it easy.